left faction, and which is, and Julia Gillard's a member of the left faction too. So
is that the one that's holding the knife or receiving the knife?
And the reason that I am, if you're wanting to know, is that I believe that's where I sit in politics. That's where I sit in my beliefs. So, and the Labor Party is a broad party. It does have varying degrees, and I know one of the things that may come up tonight is same-sex marriage. It's the same thing, and law reform and gay and lesbian. These things, it is a big, different and broad set of views in a party, but I come from that part of it, and that's where I sit with my views and values.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Well, good luck, because the Labor left is on life support.
All right, okay. Over here.
This election is a John Cleese election. Don't talk about the war. And it's been unreal. I died last week. I think both parties are going to be too busy to go to the funeral this week. What I really am angry about is our Constitution is an act of British Parliament, and the royal prerogative to go to war is used by the Governor-General to send us to war, and it's become that the situation becomes that the Prime Minister, as John Howard did, just goes straight to the Governor-General. We did the cabinet stop, we go to war, but he goes straight to the Governor-General, gets a signature, and we go to war. It's wrong, and we can't. Will you support handing the authority to the whole Parliament and take it away from a Prime Minister that wants to cover up his deeds by doing the foul act and sending young men to die?
Look, I think that we should give that to not just the Parliament, but to the people. Like, let's have a referendum if we're going to go to war. But which I think that, you know, if we had a referendum on the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, would have got voted down. I think the Socialist Alliance believes the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were illegal, that we should bring all of our troops home from both places. Yeah, absolutely.
Leader of the Australian Greens, Senator Bob Brown, has been unequivocal that such a big decision to send troops to war overseas must be made by the Parliament. And what we've seen in Australian governance recently has been an executive-led form of government. If that, it really is a serious issue, and we've seen it happen. That's why, we'll do a plug for the Greens, that's why having a third party actually in a balance of power situation does lead to negotiation, collaboration, and in my view, better policy outcomes. But certainly handing that vital call to send Australian troops overseas to fight in a war, I probably disagree with Mel with the referendum, because I'm not sure that's operationally functional in the circumstances, but the idea behind it sounds, but certainly the Parliament should have that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, Bill, I'll get us out of comment. Many of you would be aware that this is a very important issue for me. I lost a job over the war, but that was little compared to the hundreds of thousands of people who lost their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. And my personal view on Afghanistan is it's a shambles, and we need to disengage and get out of there quick, smart, and let Afghanistan find its own national political level. Yep. And this ongoing lie from the Labor Party and the Liberal Party that we have to stay in Afghanistan to protect ourselves from terrorism, I think is one of the great lies of this election. And the lies that
a quick comment?
Sir, I spent my 21st birthday in an ambush, so you can stand here and abuse this. You understand that men are there to protect your freedom. How that is done? No, please, you asked the question. The decision is made. I respect the way that the decision is made, because that's our current constitution, and I support that decision. Well, we agree to disagree. That is the beautiful thing about living in a democracy.
Hang on. We're running out of time, so let Cameron finish, please.
We agree to disagree, and that's the beautiful thing about democracy, and that is why I spent my 21st birthday in an ambush, so we can agree to disagree in a peaceful manner. The question was, I stand by the decision that is made.
Okay, all right, so, okay, we've got that. Who hasn't commented yet?
On the question of the wars in Iraq, it is, we all well know that the Australian Labor Party was against the war in Iraq, and it was, to this day, was against the war in Iraq. We came to the last election with the commitment of disengaging combat troops, which we have done. There are still obviously troops in Iraq and assisting with the rebuilding of a country that has been decimated by war, and it's an awful situation what's happened, and it's a mess, and we can blame the Bush, the Rumsfelds and the Cheneys of this world, but the fact is these Iraq people are picking their lives up from nothing. The war, the situation in Afghanistan is still, the Australian government is committed to staying there, and what it's committed to staying there is to the point where they're sustainable and they can leave. And that's what the Australian troops are there building. They're building infrastructure there to assist with the Afghan people when we do disengage. And hopefully that is sooner rather than later, and they do, and they're becoming obviously hopefully more stable, the democracy, so these people have a future.
Okay. So just quickly, between the five of you, all those who think that the entire Australian Parliament should make a decision to go to war, raise their hand. Okay, so, democracy.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm in grade 6. I will be able to vote in 6 years, so I would like to know what you will be doing for the environment if you are elected.
30 seconds, starting with Jeff in the middle.
Without the environment, there is nothing, really. We're just going around in circles because our whole lives are related to biodiversity on this planet. And if we don't look after that, we're in big trouble. We get everything we need, our food, water, our shelter, the air we breathe. It's all related to having an environment. And we're only just beginning to understand the complex relationships that occur within that environment. The Greens have been standing up for the environment for the last 38 years, since the United Tasmania Group was formed in 1972 in this very hall. And that's something I'm very proud of, in continuing that tradition. It's quite easy to be green these days. I see a lot of people being a bit greenish, but it wasn't always. And there are people in Hobart who have stood up against the bulldozers, that chain themselves to the trees. And they're the heroes that I really respect, because it's because of their actions that we are able to say the science has caught up with the rest of the community and is explaining that this stuff is important. Now, the Greens will always stand strong for the environment. The Greens are an ecological party with a social conscience, and we'll look after it.
All right.
Trust us for it.
Cameron, short response.
I would actually echo Jeff's comments. Without the environment, there is nothing. We need to protect that. And the Liberal Party has a, and you know, only down the road, the Liberal Party has a policy of protecting the environment. We'll take care of that.
Andrew.
Look, I've already made it clear that particularly on climate change, there needs to be real action and urgently, starting with private travel. I actually want to go down a rabbit hole here quite deliberately and to say there are actually two things that can destroy life as we know it on this planet. One of them is climate change, and we're giving that the attention it deserves. The other thing we are not addressing, and it hasn't been discussed in this election, so I'm going to take this opportunity to raise it, is the issue of the continuing proliferation of nuclear weapons. Yep.